Well, everyone in Pittsburgh, the United States of America, and around the globe, it happens to be July the 7th, 2015, and we are back live. This is, in fact, Humanity Matters. I am, in fact, Albert Torcaso, and to say that there's a new me would be an understatement. We'll get to that if we have time in this episode, but during this 6-month run, we will be live the first Tuesday of every month. But we need you, just like the United States of America needs every patriotic American. We need every call we can possibly get. So I want you to dial 412-231-2288. That's still the number. And let me tell you what's going to go down. In this 6 months, I'm not just going to speak to you about great and idealistic ideas, important things, justice-centered, and all that stuff that I've always done. But I'm going to work to transform lives in a way that I've never been able to. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. There are ways that I'll be able to explain some things. There are ways that I will not. But what I will tell you is that I am fighting harder now in my life to improve lives throughout this great city and this great nation. That I promise you, there's not a show on TV in America that has the determination to make the change. Now, that's not to disrespect anybody, because we have some wonderful producers. In fact, we got a wonderful young lady in the house in the control room today. Her name is Mish Johnson. And but I guess what I'm saying is, within this 6 months, I'm going to work to change lives in a way that I've never been able to before. Now, what I can tell you is that there's a lot of things I'm not legally allowed to say. But I would say that the best way for you to learn is to stay very connected with all things Albert Torcaso. And we all know Google-fied. You can find me on Google. You can find my phone number. You can yada, yada, yada. The most important thing is I'm all about justice. I'm all about fairness. I'm all about equality. So today, I'm going to do something that may seem very vengeful. And we already have a call waiting. That's great. We're going to get to that call in a minute. It may seem very vengeful, but I'm going to ask you to watch some videos today. And I want you to look at this video as if you were a member of a jewelry. And if this was happening to you, what would your thoughts in your mind at that given moment be racing across your brain? And that's what I want you to do when we get to those videos. Before we get to that, we want to not disrespect our calls. So we will get to that. So first thing we need to do is we need to get to caller number 1. But I'm not answering it. So we're going to either ask Annette or Mike to answer. I'm going to shut up. Whoever picks it up, picks it up.
Caller number 1, you're on. Hello?
Caller number 1. Caller number 1 going twice.
Caller number 1, are you there?
Uh-oh. Caller number 1, we can't hear you. Say something, caller number 1. Well, hello, caller number 1. I hear breathing. I think we have a technical issue with caller number 1. Caller number 1, you want to say something?
Please do.
Eric, I think we're going to have to go on to the next call and say forget about it here because I didn't get anything. I'm not trying to disrespect the caller, but we couldn't hear the caller, and we got to kind of move on and move forward. So again, let me continue this thought. We're going to talk about some incidents today and some concerns. But when I speak to you about this, this isn't about what happened to me and my family. Part of it is. But it's really about all of our lives. And I want you to keep that in mind. And remember, keep calling, because we will get to the calls. We didn't hear that one, but call back and try again at 412-231-2288. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak to Eric when I'm ready for the videos, but let me fill you in on what happened. Okay, we're going to take you back in time a little bit. December the 20th, 5 days before Christmas, December the 20th, 2014. Approximately 8:20 to 8:50 p.m., I was in a place called the Waterfront. And being that it was 5 days before Christmas, most of the stores were closed at that time. We had ourselves an empty parking lot. And there wasn't any cars behind me, any vehicles of any kind. So I had to wait. I was exiting the Waterfront parking lot, and I was by a fitness place. That's where the nearest intersection. And I was going to make a left turn from the left lane onto Amity Street, headed towards Homestead, Pennsylvania. And I had a red light. So, like normal people, I had been waiting for the light to turn. Now, keep in mind, you have a lot of leeway as to where you can place your car waiting for the red light. But usually, in Pennsylvania at least, they have signs that says stop here on red. Well, they didn't have one here, but I always give people extra room. You know, you might have a large truck, you might have a bus. So I had more than enough room. Well, I'm sitting there waiting for the light to change, and I see this bus on Amity Street coming at us at a high rate of speed. And I'm thinking, well, surely this guy or girl is going to go straight, because they didn't slow down to make the right turn into the parking lot. Well, unfortunately, that was not the case. But I'll tell you what, I have to keep you in suspense for a minute, because we do have another call, and we're going to have Mike try to answer this one.
Okay, caller, we can take the next call.
Hello.
Yeah.
I run the Pat bus every day, and it's always been very good.
Okay. They've always been very good?
Yeah, that's been very good for me.
Well, that's good. But there's...
It gets, when it's full,
Right.
it gets almost 300 miles to a gallon. Do you know that?
Well, I'm not sure I agree that they get that much. There's no bus that gets 300 miles a gallon.
When it's full of people, it does.
I didn't really understand that.
When it's full of people, it does.
Say this
And
again?
You get that many people off the road.
That
And
many
you
people
tell me.
on the route.
Well,
Hello?
I'm
Hello?
not sure how many people you get on the route.
A pet bus is a good thing for people. And you use it? Do you use it? Or do you just complaining about it?
Well, I really can't really understand exactly what you're saying at this time. I don't know if it's your phone. Did you lower the TV?
Hold on. Let me lower it. And turn off my TV.
I'm sorry, we're going to move forward, because
Hey,
unfortunately I
is
can't
that any better?
understand you. I'm
That
sorry,
better?
I couldn't understand the caller. I'm sorry about that.
Is that better, mister? Can you hear me?
A little bit.
Okay.
Now, what are
I
you
tell
saying
you
about
what.
the bus route?
I think the Pat bus is very good.
Well,
It is.
you
You're
think
a
the pad
senior
buses are
citizen.
very good?
If you were a senior citizen in the city of Pittsburgh, you wouldn't be saying this about the good bus driver.
Well, you know what? I agree with you that they can be good to some degree, but there are a lot of PAT bus drivers that their safety record and their attitude towards other vehicles are not good. As a matter of fact, I've seen senior citizens fall when I was in the bus, or nearly fall, and I would like you to address that.
Well, I know. I get me with my walker, and they lift me. Have a lift.
They
And
lift
get
you with your
me
walker,
and I get on the bus
okay?
with my walker that lifts me up,
Okay.
and I get on a bus.
Well, that's
It's a
good.
good thing. It's very nice. Have you thought about stopping your driving?
No, I haven't, but we're going to go ahead and move forward because this is not really staying on topic. We're not speaking about how good the buses are for the citizens. We're speaking about the safety of the bus. So we're going to go ahead and say, let's move on with that. And I appreciate your opinion, but that's actually not the topic that we're speaking about. And in reality, what I'm speaking about is actually very dangerous, what these drivers are doing, some of them. And I will say that not all Port Authority drivers have a bad safety record. Not all Port Authority drivers are bad drivers. However, there is a pattern going on with the Port Authority that whenever something bad happens, they somehow are either justified in what happened or nobody takes litigation against them. And as a result, we do have some very dangerous and outright deadly drivers. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. I told you what happened. This driver was speeding on Amity Street, coming from Homestead area, on Amity Street, making a right turn into the waterfront. Excuse me, that was a blooper. I'm sorry about that. Waterfront. Sorry about that. Did you hear what accidentally happened? Hey, Mike's like, hey, forget about it. It happens. Waterfront complex. So at this point, I'll tell you what we're going to do. It's better to show you so you get a mental picture. So at this point, I'm going to have Eric run the first video. And then I think I want to run the first video probably twice, but we'll see. Let's go with the first round. Now that's the street that actually the bus was coming from. And if you look, it's a very tight space there. And hopefully we can see. Now here's one of the buses. Now, if you look at that silver vehicle, that's where I was about when I was waiting for the bus. And if you notice how that bus came, there wasn't a whole lot of clearance. So if we could go ahead and run that again, that same video again, I want you to freeze it if you can, pause it, like right when it's getting to the silver. If you could pause it for a second. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I want you to think about. Here you can see how close that bus is to all of those vehicles. And you can see there is a clearance. But if you notice, the right rear tire almost goes on the curb because it's so narrow. Now, we did slow this down. So at some point, if Eric can do it at full speed when I'm done, we'll let you see the full speed if it's possible. But what I want to say to you is this. If you look at the silver car, the silver minivan, whatever it is, that's where I was about. Now, imagine this bus coming at you at 5 or 15 miles an hour trying to make that little turn. What would you be thinking? That's what I want you to think about for a second. What would you be thinking? If you were the driver waiting in that intersection and this bus is coming at a high rate of speed in that narrow section. But now we're going to go to another video when Eric can do it. And this is the one where the bus actually goes on the right curb, if you can find it. If you can't find it, that's okay. We'll look for that a little bit later. Okay, here we go. Now this bus here, you'll notice the right rear tire will go up. Now look at that. Imagine at a high rate of speed, you see this bus tipping like that, and at a high rate of speed, the likelihood that that bus could have maybe even tipped over onto you, and you're at that same place. Now I ask you, what would your thoughts in your head be? So with that, let's go back to the live shot of myself, and let me get a possibility of a disagreement here, because I can tell you that when I seen that bus coming at me at a high rate of speed, and I don't know if it was 5, 15 miles or not, but my choice was move out of the way or be killed, along with Annette and Kathy Payer. And there is a little bit of disclosure. You may have noticed that Kathy's not here today. Well, one of the reasons is she has to go to therapy like 4 times a week now because of the injuries she sustained as a result of poor driving by bus. But I have Mike here, and I don't know. We didn't see the bus that actually was speeding. But if you look at that and the way that one bus went on the curb and the narrowness of that area, what I would like from Mike is his honest opinion. If you're that driver, you're at that silver vehicle or maybe one of those other 2 up front, and you see a bus coming that close to you at a high rate of speed, what are your thoughts at that time as a driver and as a person?
That would be kind of hard, L, because I would have to be put in that situation
Okay.
to make a comment about
Okay.
about I would have to be there to say something else. You know what I mean? I couldn't just say.
So you don't think it looks scary the way that
Well,
that was on the curb?
it's kind of irresponsible. Yeah, I would say it's irresponsible. But I've been, like the caller said, I've been dependent on the buses all my life. And,
Right.
and some of my best friends are bus drivers, but
Right.
I'll tell you, just like that, you have bus drivers that are racist,
Right.
you have bus drivers that are downright ignorant,
Right.
and you have bus drivers that are pretty good people.
But
So,
what do you think of their safety record?
I feel Port Authority could be a little more responsible.
What do you think about their driving records, though?
That's what I'm saying. They could be a little more responsible.
Okay.
Al. Yeah.
Have you
that's
ever witnessed anything you felt was risky, dangerous, or scary? Have you ever gotten hurt, fallen, or anything?
No,
Or
no,
witnessed?
no, sir. I've never had, but I've met some pretty darn ignorant bus drivers. Like some really.
Well, that's a little bit different
yes,
than
yes,
safety, though.
Yes. But I would have to say they are irresponsible. Al, I would say
So
a
you
lot
would
of them.
concur with
Yes, I would.
Okay. Now, Annette, let me ask you. Thank you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you before we get to the calls, and I want your opinion too. I mean, you just witnessed some of those videos, and feel free at any time, Eric, to run the other ones after Annette's comment. In fact, I tell you what, let's make this easy. After Annette makes her comment, let's go ahead and run the remaining video just to kind of get people an idea, and then I can tell them the story, because before even we get to Annette, there is a place that the bus drivers go on the waterfront to take a break when they have a break time. And one of the security officers that was in a vehicle at the waterfront actually suggested he felt that the reason why the driver was driving that fast was the race to his or her break. And he also admitted to me that Port Authority has caused many accidents at that very same intersection, but what really was frightening to me was he also told me that sometimes when the cars are up front, if you notice in that video, there were some that did not give the bus any room, which was wrong. I think you have to, if you want respect, you give respect. So that was wrong. And where that silver van was the proper place to be. But he informed me that sometimes the buses deliberately bump and push back some of the cars because they're not, in their mind, they're not far enough back. Now that, to me, they should be charged for damage, property damage and whatever. But getting back to what happened, when you seen the vehicle in that, and you seen how fast this driver was coming, what was going on in your mind? Do you honestly think that I was incorrect to do what I had done, and maybe I panicked, or how do you feel about the whole thing? Just, I don't care either way, because I know how I feel, but I want to know how you feel.
I think you're doing the right thing. I mean, thank God nothing happened tragically.
But
that
when you
could have
seen the
happened.
bus, what was your thoughts?
I'm going to tell you.
Oh, don't tell me, tell them.
I thought he was going too fast. I mean, he could have slowed down some. I mean, that's a small corner to cut a corner like that at that rate of speed. You know, you have to consider the other drivers that are there at the light, and they can't go anywhere because of the light, you know, and there really needs to be consideration of the parameter of space, you know, where the buses can turn and how much room the cars have to back up or to get out of the bus's way. And that's the problem there. There doesn't seem to be that much room.
But did you think at the time, did you, like myself and like Kathy, did you feel we were in danger at that time?
Yes, very much so.
So you don't feel that I made the wrong decision to back up?
No, not at all.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking that is I'm trying to be very objective.
Right, I understand.
And at the same time, I can't be dishonest. And no offense to politicians, but I'm not going to tell you I'm not raising taxes when I know full well and good at some point I may have to raise taxes. My point is, I'm not raising taxes, but my point is, I'm not going to lie to the public. It's
We're
just
not
not happening.
lying.
But what I'm saying is, that's why I'm asking your opinion.
If he didn't back up, the bus would have ran into us and would have resulted in a terrible accident. I don't even want to think about what might have happened.
Well, I know what might have happened, but we won't go there.
Well, I know what might have happened too, but I'm just saying, I don't want to think about it.
All right, well.
That's how dangerous the situation and circumstances were.
So now before we go to the other videos, I don't really know if we even need them. What would your recommendations be with regards to that driver and some of the safety of the way there seems to be a pattern of disregard for other drivers by at least some Port Authority drivers? What do you think the solution is?
Well, get better drivers.
Get better drivers. Okay.
Drivers that respect other drivers and the road and the rules of the road.
Okay.
And cars have to respect the buses too.
I agree.
And well, the bus drivers, not all of them. You know, it's like in any occupation, there's bad guys and good guys.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the ones that think they own the road need to get out of that attitude. They need to get over that attitude because they don't own the road. And they're bigger than the cars, and that's what these larger buses looming over smaller cars, that's pretty uncomfortable, you know. And I think they should hold meetings like Al's sisters go to monthly meetings to discuss the problem with the Port Authority. And you need to come up with some kind of solution. I think that should be mentioned and brought up at the meetings.
Okay. Well, I'm going to kind of close. We need to close this.
Well, so his sister's going to be calling in. I'm going to
You
tell
don't
her
know
to,
that.
if she does.
Yeah. Well, before we do all that, let me just say what my recommendations is. Number one, I'm very disappointed with the office of the district attorney and Stephen Zappella. I feel that this was an attack. It was no accident. It was an attack. It was an attack with a deadly weapon. At the very least, it was negligence, criminal negligence in terms of the driver. And at worst, it was an intent to do bodily harm. I don't see a difference between using a vehicle, which is a deadly weapon. Let's make no mistake there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see the difference between that driver coming at me deliberately than if somebody took out a firearm and threatened me with a firearm. However, when I submitted my findings to the office of the district attorney, for whatever reason, the detective in that office and whomever else seen this decided, well, you know, it's not criminal. So let me just say this to District Attorney Stephen Zappella. I am a man who does not back down from the most wealthiest men and women on earth, wealthiest corporations on earth, because when there is injustice anywhere, there is injustice everywhere. And that was from Martin Luther King. But that is a true statement. Martin Luther King is exactly right. And it was unjust that not only did Stephen Zappella's office not even go after this driver, not only did I call up the Port Authority, made a complaint, called up the Port Authority police, made a complaint, and a special department, 3 different ways. Not only did I do everything that I could, and then I tried to get an attorney, but no matter what, nobody wants to take responsibility. Now, here's what the problem is to the general public. I need to let you know what's in it for you and what isn't in it for you. This is the problem. That driver is still driving in the Pittsburgh area today. That driver had no docking of his or her pay, no accountability. Guess what? That driver is going to continue to be an intimidating, aggressive driver. So what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, thanks to the Port Authority and thanks to Stephen Zappella's office, what we actually have here is the allowance of a deadly driver to continue driving. So let me say this, and let me make this 100% abundantly clear. If I find out that there is an accident that causes a death in any way, shape, or form in the waterfront, and it happens to be by a Port Authority driver, let me trust me on this one. Let me tell you, I will do everything legally and everything peacefully to get every media station in Pittsburgh on your behind, because it is wrong. You are not representing the people. I don't know if it was you, District Attorney Stephen Zappella, so I'm not picking on you, but your office failed the people. This was an assault with a deadly weapon. But that's not what the problem is, ladies and gentlemen. The problem is this. That driver still exists on the road today. Your lives could be at risk. But here's the other thing, and that was a little bit nice to Port Authority. I'm not going to be nice. I have seen intimidating drivers, aggressive bus drivers, way too many times. And I'm going to give you an example. When I leave Homestead and go on the Homestead High Level Grays Bridge, I think it's, yes, Homestead Grays Bridge, still called the High Level in some cases. The 61C is a bus route. And if the 61C is in the right lane of that two-lane road, they will, no matter how close they are to you, they will, with or without their left turn signal, go in front of any driver at any time as if they somehow are due and owed that. They don't care about the safety of the vehicle. And they have no reason to care. They have no reason to care about the safety of other drivers. Let me tell you why. Because if you will look up in Google, if you will look at the newscast from WTAE, WPXI, KDKA, or Fox, or the CW, go ahead, do some research. Go on Google, do some research. Wherever you go, you will find there have been many deaths of pedestrians by the Port Authority. You will find there have been many accidents of vehicles by the Port Authority. You will remember just recently we had 2 Port Authority drivers racing each other that got fired and may end up in jail. And then we just had another video where we saw one driving and on the phone. So when I see there's a pattern of disregard and dangerousness and deadly driving, you don't have to believe in Albert Torcaso. You'll find the research yourself. But make no mistake, your lives are at risk. Now, about those senior citizens, I have seen, because I've been in the bus too, I have seen senior citizens nearly fall. I have seen people of all ages fall at a sudden stop. So I am not saying and condemning every Port Authority driver, but there is a pattern of total disregard for pedestrians, for other vehicles, and frankly, for customers. Now, if you don't believe me, explain something to me. How is it that some pedestrians that got killed had gotten out of the bus and actually hit and killed by Port Authority drivers that they were in the bus previously? The fact of the matter is something needs to be done. So now it's time for Al to kick some behind. Right now, we're going to kick some behind. Since Zappella's office decided nothing needed to be done, I am calling on WPXI TV, the NBC affiliate. I am calling on WTAE Investigates, the ABC affiliate. I am calling on CBS Channel 2, and I think is, I can't remember, Marty Griffith, I believe. I'm calling on each and every one of you to get some bravery, take on the Port Authority, and I'm going to go a little bit further. I would like to see criminal investigations into Port Authority on a countywide level, a state level, and a federal level, including, if need be, with the United States Justice Department. Here's the reason. Lives are being lost, and Port Authority is getting away with it. Now, if I reported this attack to the Port Authority police themselves, explain to me why this bus driver never faced any repercussions. The fact is, I don't move, I'm dead, Annette's dead, Kathy's dead. So yeah, I may seem like I have a vendetta, but in reality, I'm thinking about your life. I'm thinking about Mike's life. I'm thinking about Annette's life. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The very next time somebody gets killed by the Port Authority Transit, here are the words you will hear. It was the pedestrian's fault. If it's an accident from a vehicle and they get killed or hurt, it was the driver's fault. It never seems to be unjustified. It never seems to be Port Authority's fault. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to look at reality and let's honestly say there needs to be a federal investigation and a news investigation. And if nothing ever happens, you can be sure of one thing. Albert Torcaso's on the case. And believe me, when I see a bus acting just a little bit weird, I've been having Annette take my little camcorder with me. We might just catch it on camera. So a word to the wise for the Port Authority drivers out there who aren't doing your job, I'm watching. And trust me, I may be Mr. Humanity Matters, I do love you, but I can be worse than 100 trillion pit bulls if I have to be. And trust me, I'm not above going on a midnight show to really let you know what time it is, because Albert Torcaso's a sweetheart. But get on my bad side, hurt my family, hurt my friends, try to kill me, and I guarantee you, you will think I am the meanest, toughest man that ever lived on the planet Earth. I'll do it legally, I'll do it peacefully, but I'll whoop your butt so bad that your dead ancestors will come back to Earth and cry, and then whoop your butt for making them come back to cry. That's how bad of a mofo I can be. Trust me on that. See if I'm playing. Now, I expect something done about these, frankly, these terroristic bus drivers. It's a terrifying thing to see a bus coming at you like that. And let's keep in mind, people have died. With that, It's 6:30, 4 p.m. We're done with this. But you know what's going to be funny about all that? Now we're going on to the next segment. It's got nothing to do with buses. Nothing at all. And you know what? It's time for you to voice your opinion. Maybe you're a Port Authority driver. Maybe you want to blow the whistle. Maybe you're afraid because your fellow drivers would try to kill you. I don't know. I know one thing, you can dial 412-231-2288 unless you're afraid of a guy with a comb over. But until somebody has the willingness to call, I'm going to actually ask for Mike's opinion on what I said, Annette's opinion on what I said, and then we're going to have Mike do his issue of the day. He gets 15 minutes, or at least, I guess, about 7.5 minutes. I'm sorry it took longer than I expected.
Okay.
Hey, Makanga.
Okay, well.
Just make a quick opinion.
Okay, well, I would have to agree. I would have to agree that the city of Pittsburgh is corrupted. And Stephen J. Sapella, he has disappointed me in many times, you know. And I'll give you one example. Do you remember a good 2 years ago when a chick had her baby hanging over a cage of dogs? Does anybody remember that took place in the Pittsburgh Zoo? She literally had her baby hanging over had her baby hanging over a railing, not where the net was, but over the net.
Okay.
Yeah.
That baby fell into that pit of dogs and was literally mauled.
Right.
And Stephen J. Sapella did not file charges on that boy's mother, which he should have did.
Yeah.
No woman that loves her child is going to have her child hanging over a pit of dogs. You know that, El. You know that. And as far as like
crazy.
Pittsburgh, you know, Pittsburgh is very corrupted. You're right about that, El. That's one thing you can say. Pittsburgh is very corrupted. And I'll tell you what I've seen before. I've seen cops texting. You know, I've seen it.
Are you for real?
I've seen it. Yes, I have. I have seen
gosh.
Homestead cops literally sitting in their cars texting.
While driving.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
They really a good example, aren't they? Good role model.
So just like you're saying here, like it's almost impossible to file charges against Port Authority or the Pittsburgh Police. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
Can I come out and say something? You know, what I'm going to say here could put my life at risk, and I don't give a rat's claw. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a Port Authority person and you kill somebody, you're going to get away with it.
That's right.
If you're, and I'm sorry, and I'm not saying that all cops are bad. I'm not saying that. But if you're an officer, you kill somebody, guess what? You're going to get away with it.
That's right.
Except that one recently, they did something in that one state. But you had something else you want to say about remember we talked about in the vehicle?
Yes.
So start saying it.
Yeah, speak
to the people.
What I would like to see.
We need some calls, ladies and gentlemen. 412-231-2288.
Yeah, just the problem, like, you know, in general, like the racism. You know, Pittsburgh is very racist. Pittsburgh is very racist, and I don't know, and just like it's like it seems like every time you turn on the TV, there's a cop, you know, and I'm not stereotyping anybody, but why is it that you never see black cops killing white people? You know what I mean? Like every time you turn around, it's most likely a white cop killing a black person, and most of the time that black person is unarmed, but yet.
Well, what did I say to you in the van?
Yes.
Remember what I said?
Yes.
It's the attitude, and I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I love all people of all pigmentations, all races, denominations, whatever. But I gotta say it like it is. If you ain't white, you ain't right. That's the attitude we still have in Pittsburgh. We still have that in America. But ironically, America's one of the worst racist nations on earth. And ironically, if you think about it, the weird part about it is that some of the nations you would think would be more racist are less.
That's right.
So here's what I want to say, though. I love people. People can't change. But you know what? We can't be diddly-daddling. See, we don't have any calls. You know why we don't get too many calls? And as a matter of fact, I predict that come January, we're not going to have our live episodes again. And you know why we're not going to get calls, ladies and gentlemen? I can tell Eric, I can tell Glass, I can tell the world why we're not going to get calls. Because I am not the guy who placates to anybody. Now, if you ain't white, you ain't right. That's the attitude we have in America. I mean, if that wasn't true, look what we did when we first came. Let's do a little quick history lesson. What happened when we first came here? We had the Pilgrims, who were white settlers. They came, they hung out with the Indians. Then all of a sudden, they started killing people, right? And we almost wiped out most of the Native Americans.
That's right.
When the Chinese was building our railroads and stuff, we treated them like garbage, and other Asians too. And when we look at World War I, we actually interned the Japanese. We also actually, ironically, interned some white people, some Caucasians, Germans, and Italians. But we picked on the Asians, we picked on the African Americans. We did abominations to the African Americans, and we all know the history of that. And now we have a new profiling since the attacks in 2001. We like to pick on anybody who's Middle Eastern. So we need to wake up, America. So you know what? You don't need to give me a call. Hey, if January comes, I lose my live show, let me tell you, let me kind of wake you up. Whether I'm live here, or I'm live on the internet, or I'm live in Africa, it don't matter. I'm not going to placate to one single human being on earth, not even myself. So deal with it. But with that, you matter to me, Mike.
Thank you. We're going to have to get some flyers made up, El, for
We
the next
need to
time.
do
Yeah,
something.
we'll get some flyers
But what
put
I'm saying is,
together.
you matter to me.
Thank
Let me
you.
tell you somebody else that matters to me. Somebody you may not even know. The most violent, dangerous gang member in America I care about. And I'll tell you why they could be gang members. They were treated like garbage, had very little opportunity, and didn't have love.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying that's an excuse. It's not an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
But look what America does.
That's
So
right.
America,
That's right.
how about we show humanity matters? I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Japanese. I don't care if you're African American. I don't care. I love everybody. I might open up a can of whoop on you, but I still love you. But now, you know what? We got about 12 minutes. So, Annette has a choice to make. Do your topic or do the in memoriam. Personally, I would like you to do your topic. But talk to the peoples. And I need to shut the H up. I think you did a good job, Mike.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
But every black life matters to me.
Thank
Every
you.
Native American.
Thank you, El.
Every person on earth matters to me. But I'm going to keep kicking your butt until you get it right. With that, now back to Annette.
Well, people matter to me also, and animals matter. And my topic tonight is regarding animals, specific animals. The situation in Mount Lebanon with the deer, that's disgusting. I mean, you don't kill the animals, for Christ's sake, just because they uproot your flowers or your garden or whatever. Put up a fence, but you don't kill them. And I'm really upset about it. They stopped it after killing about 6 deer in the wintertime, and now they're thinking about redoing it. Well, don't do it. That's not the solution. I'm tired of the killing, whether it's of people, animals. It's got to stop. I mean, God's the only one who has a right to take a human or an animal's life. And that's not the way people think.
Can you speak up just a wee bit?
Yes. I hope they decide to come up with a better solution to the deer population problem there. than killing them outright like that. That's wrong. And that's my topic tonight. So you
Well-
people in Mount Lebanon, think about how you would feel if you were a deer and somebody shot at you just because you were upsetting somebody's property or whatever. Put up a fence if you don't like it.
Well, I heard there may be an alternative, something about deer birth control. They may be able to do something so that not so many of them are born. But my biggest problem with humanity is we tend to encroach on habitat of animals, and then we try to eradicate the animals as if somehow the animals did something wrong. And again, this goes to our arrogancy as a race. And by the way, for the record, there is a Homo sapien race. And for the record, for any racists out there, a Homo sapien is a human being. And it does not matter about pigmentation, culture, or any of that jazz. So when I say humanity matters, I mean that. But what I say that, the reason why I brought that up is for this reason. We don't need racism. We don't need terrorism. We don't need wars. What we need is love. What we need is compassion. We need understanding. We need opportunity. And if I know how to bake a cake, instead of saying to you, give me $80 and I'll teach you how to bake that cake, and it's all about the money, we need to evolve as a people and say, you know what? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to teach you how to do that, make that cake for free. And we actually help each other. But with regards to the deer, they need to come up with a different solution. We as a people need to quit killing everybody and every animal. We need to quit disrespecting people. And frankly, we need to help educate each other. This isn't about, none of this show is about really destroying anybody. It's not even about destroying that driver that almost killed us. But there needs to be accountability. There needs to be an end to racism. A black life needs to matter. A Native American needs to matter. An Asian American needs to matter. And if they get murdered, we should have the same efforts we had recently when a wealthy white couple, I forget what state it was in, got murdered. They flocked to solving. As a matter of fact, even in Pittsburgh, two sisters were murdered.
Yeah, the Wolf sisters.
And yet, if we look at the books of minorities, and it's mainly black, let's be honest, how many unsolved murders do we have in Pittsburgh?
A lot.
How many unsolved murders do we have in the entire state?
A lot.
How many unsolved murders, especially of blacks, do we have, and maybe Hispanics, do we have throughout the United States?
A lot.
And my point is, until we reach that evolution, then none of us really, we're not doing God's work.
What happened
We're
to
not
that?
even of God.
What happened to that little 2-year-old girl, that black girl?
It's
that little
terrible.
Black girl. Did they ever find out who
Nope.
did that?
Nope.
No. Are they still investigating it?
I have to wonder. But I would say, instead of condemning all the people who've been corrupt and all the people who've been racist throughout history, I'm going to ask you to do something that never occurred to you. Ask yourself, especially if you believe yourself to believe in God, ask yourself, if God came down with the person's pigmentation that you hate, if God came down and asked you, and you didn't know it was God, but they asked you for help, would you slap them in their face? Would you try to kill them? Or would you help God? And if you cannot say, I would help, you don't even believe in God. You can be the biggest minister on earth. You don't believe in God. Don't tell me you do. Until you get rid of your racism, you don't believe in God. Until you're willing to help somebody, till it's not all about the Benjamins, you don't believe in God. Now, I know I may have went off on a tangent, but see, here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe I'm not the best talk show host in America yet, but I am one of the baddest mofos you will ever meet, because I'm the only one that will tell you the truth in a way that it may slap you in the face. Now, I'm hoping that some of my other PCTV people get a little bit more like me. And I know we got some really good PCTV producers. I got to give it up to some of our really, really good PCTV producers. You know what? I'm going to do a little shout out for my home team. I'm going to give a shout out to Michelle, Mish. She's got the Mish connection. If you don't watch that show, you're drunk. You're a crazy son of a gun if you don't watch that show. If you like sports and you're not watching Steel City Sports World, do me a favor, go like this and knock yourself out because you're stupid. If you like comedy, they got some crazy stuff here. But I'm going to tell you right now, even some of my own fellow producers think I need to quit going on multiple topics. But there's only one problem with that. It all comes back to one thing. It's about justice, integrity, honesty, love, and what is right. And until we start doing that, I'm going to be on your case. Don't call me if you're afraid. But if you're afraid, I hope you get even more afraid, because I'm not going to back down. Oh, and by the way, this is a special note for Channel 11, Channel 2, Channel 4, and Steven Sapella. I promise you I'll be giving you a call. Mayor Peduto, yes, Mayor Peduto. Man, I like you. I interviewed you years ago. But every time I call your people and ask to speak to you, guess what happens now that you're the mayor? Sorry, you can't get through them. You're going to have to send an email. So if you happen to see my show, Mayor Peduto, I would like to actually invite you to a future episode of Humanity Matters. I suggest that you let me do that. You're a good man, but there are some things we need to talk about, and I would like you to maybe talk to some of the people to get justice, because we need some justice, people. And let's solve some of these murders. And we got 3.5 minutes. I need Mike to do his final thoughts. I need Annette to do their final thoughts. Okay, well, her final thoughts, and I need people to know that if you don't call, that's all right. I'll do it on tape. I don't care. You ain't gonna never shut me up. Okay, you're up.
We'll get some flyers together for our next show. You know, I'll get some flyers together.
What we're gonna do is I'm gonna get the boxing gloves on and be like, you ain't gonna watch my show? I'm gonna knock you out.
We'll get some flyers together for
you
our
don't think
next
I should
show.
go around knocking people out?
No.
I'm just kidding, people.
But the topic today was good. I mean, you brought attention to things that needed attention, like the irresponsibility of Port Authority, because there are a lot of irresponsible Port Authority drivers. I've been dependent on the buses all my life. And let me tell you something, I met more racist bus drivers than I met good ones, you know, and that's something, that's Pittsburgh's downfall. I hate to say this, but Pittsburgh is very racist, Al.
This young man is a very good man. Before we go, do you know he's getting ready to move out of the state because of the way they act?
I'd love to.
So
that's bad. That's bad.
So are we.
I'm thinking about moving to Arizona because I don't like what's going on here. But anyway, we gotta shut up. So, your turn.
Well, I agree with everything that we discussed
You guys speak
today.
up a little bit. They may not hear you.
I agree with everything we discussed today.
You got about 1.5 minutes.
The racism's got to stop. It's got to end. God put us on this earth to get along and to do right by each other. And it shouldn't matter what color the person is or what race, nationality, sexual. It doesn't matter.
No, it don't.
It's unity in the community. Remember that.
Nice.
Can you say that out loud?
Unity in the community.
I like that.
And that doesn't mean just your city and state, but the country and the world.
Okay. Well, we got 2 minutes. Anything else you want to say?
No. I think I said all that needs to be
I
said.
think I scared the callers. That's all right. Well, at any rate, let's get down to business and say, remember that you and humanity in all forms of life really
Does
does
matter.
matter.